Hello everyone and welcome back to another epic chess game between Garry Kasparov and Viswanathan. This time Garry Kasparov has the white pieces and his opponent Viswanathan has the black pieces, and this was game number 10 from the match. Maybe you watched the game number 9. In game number 1, in game number 9, Garry Kasparov lost very badly. So actually at this moment of the match Kasparov was losing on the scorecard. But after losing game number 9, Garry Kasparov was very angry. He was angry. He went into the room. He didn't even look at Anand's face. He shook his hand and he was looking dead serious. So this is the beautiful famous picture between Kasparov and Anand at the top of the World Trade Center. Of course, they are posing here. They didn't play that match at the windy roof. So a beautiful picture between Anand and Kasparov. We can see the beautiful view of the New York City from the top of the World Trade Center. And okay, this is also a nice picture and interesting photo. It's a little bit narrow photo. It's not like a very big photo. The quality is good enough. So this photo is from game number 10 between Kasparov and Anand from the actual match. Okay, you can see that Kasparov was dead serious. He is not even looking at Anand's face. So he's also in full of concentration. So let's check out what happened in this chess game. This is going to be a small spoiler, but game number 10 is actually one of the greatest chess games of all times ever played in the history of chess. I can easily say that. And we all know that Garry Kasparov is perhaps the greatest chess player of all times. You will see why after watching this chess game. So Kasparov, he turned the beast mode on. And he is also known as the Beast from Baku. He starts the game with pushing the e-pawn and he is hoping to get the revenge. e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to b5. And we have the Ruy Lopez, the Spanish game, a6, bishop to a4, knight to f6, and Garry Kasparov castled. Knight takes on e4, pushing the pawn, b5, bishop to b3, d5. So far there is nothing out of the ordinary. So knight from b to d2, knight to c5. And in this position Kasparov played c3, d4, pushing the pawn. Well, it is white to move. In this position, Kasparov played knight to g5. And this was actually an incredible move by Garry Kasparov. So he is sacrificing the knight. In this position, he is offering his knight to the queen. But after thinking hard, Anand didn't capture the knight. He captured the pawn. D takes on c3. Let's take it back. After knight to g5, if queen takes on g5, then this knight is a problem. Queen to f3 and attacking the knight. How to defend? If defending with the bishop, if bishop to d7, then we have bishop takes on f7, check, king to e7, bishop to d5, and how to defend the knight. So knight takes on e5 is not working because of queen to e2 and again attacking the rook. So d3, queen to e1, attacking the rook again and also at the same time threatening to push the pawn. So rook d8 and pushing the pawn, and this is actually losing for black. Interesting, isn't it? So it looked like there is nothing out of the ordinary. But in this position Kasparov is sacrificing his knight. He sees the opportunity and he saw that this knight is looking dangerous. So let's go a little bit deeper in this position after queen to f3. Let's say king to d7. What happens then? Then bishop to d5 again. And if capturing the bishop, then queen takes on d5. And in the next move, you can capture the knight. This is losing. So if this time knight takes on e5, well, it is very simple. Then bishop takes on e6. F takes on e6 and queen takes rook, bang. And this is losing for Viswanathan as well. You can see that Garry Kasparov is already looking vicious. Knight to g5. What a move. So Anand, of course, didn't capture the knight because of his weakness. He knew that this was a weakness. After queen to f3, knight takes on e6, f takes on e6, b takes on c3, queen to d3, bishop to c2, and Kasparov is sacrificing a pawn, and he wanted Anand to know that he is ready in a fighting mode. He was in a fighting mode. So in this position, Anand is attacking the rook. What would you do? Kasparov, it looked like he made a blunder. He played knight to b3. So defending the rook with the knight. And in this position, we have knight takes on b3. Happily capturing the knight. Bishop takes on b3. Well, isn't this simply losing the rook? Attacking the defender. So knight takes on b3, bishop takes on b3. But Viswanathan didn't capture the rook. He played knight to d4. Of course, we are going to look what happens if capturing the rook. Then queen to h5, this is check. If g6, then queen to f3. And what is defending this knight? If king to d7, then rook to d1, check. And after the next move, you can capture the knight. So this is losing, as you can see. So after check, what happens if king to d7? Well, if king to d7, then here comes bishop takes on e6. This is check. King takes on e6 and queen to h3. This is check again. And the black king has to be very careful in this position. So if you move to a dark square, then checking the king back to the king, checking the king, discover attack to the queen. So you can see that there are lots of attacking opportunities. So king to f7, queen to f3 check, and capturing the knight with the queen. This is check. Also attacking the rook. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a masterpiece by Garry Kasparov. Incredible. An incredible chess game already by Kasparov. What a game. Already. This is just the beginning. You have not seen anything yet. So Kasparov is sacrificing the rook, but because of the reason, because of the possible continuation that we check out, Anand didn't capture the rook. We have knight to d4, queen to g4 by Garry Kasparov. Again, sacrificing the rook, and the sacrifice was accepted. Queen takes on a1. Bishop takes on e6. Kasparov is playing rook down. Anand has the rook. Rook to d8. Of course, in this position, Kasparov is threatening to check the king. And then it is looking very ugly, as you know. So rook to d8 defending. Bishop to h6 by Garry Kasparov. Look at this shot. Here comes bishop to h6. What a move by Garry Kasparov. A punch in the face. This is also a discover attack to the queen, so defending the queen, and Kasparov captured the pawn. And this is also attacking the rook, but there is a bigger problem than capturing the rook, losing the rook. So we have queen to d3 by Viswanathan. Let's take it back and let's check out what happens if capturing the bishop. Would you capture the bishop with the queen? What happens in this position? Well, queen to h5 is the move. King to f8 and then bang, checkmate. And if king to e7, then queen to f7. And where is the king going? Checkmate. There is no defense. This was the beast from Baku. at his best, ladies and gentlemen. So this is why after this incredible shot, ooh, what a shot by Kasparov. We have queen to c3, bishop takes on g7, and then queen to d3, and you know why Anand played this move much better now. Because if checking the king, Anand can retreat the queen and block and save his king from getting checkmated. But he can save the rook, so Kasparov captured the rook, queen to g6. Well, exchanging everything, this is what happened in the game, simplifying the game. And Kasparov is a pawn up. After the mess, after the complications, Anand end up being a pawn down. Kasparov clearly has the one extra pawn advantage in this endgame, plus he has the bishop. This is Kasparov at his best. Rook to c1, defending the weakness, f4, solidifying, pushing the pawn, marching in, and bishop to d1, g4, rook to d5, attacking, defending the knight, attacking the rook. You can't defend the rook with the king because of f5, defending the rook, and bang. Kasparov captured one more pawn. Knight to e6, defending the rook, rook to c8, f5, rook to c4, defending the king, knight to c5, g5, rook to c1, rook to d6. And after rook to d6, actually Viswanathan had enough and he resigned. Look at the pawns of Kasparov. Ooh, what a revenge by Kasparov. Well, I think this was one of the greatest chess games of all times and one of the best chess games of Garry Kasparov. And let's check out the possible continuation. Well, this move looks pretty annoying, isn't it? So threatening to push the pawn and queen, or capturing the pawn and pushing the pawn queen. Anyway, looks little bit annoying, but f6, check. Black has to play king to f8, otherwise he is getting force checkmated because we have bishop to h5. And the threat is very obvious. Rook to d8, checkmate. Oh yeah. So if capturing the pawn, checkmate. There is no defense. Hell yeah. So we have pushing the pawn, king to f8, bishop to h5, and now what? This is a force variation, by the way. So this is what the computer engine says. There is no defense. Silly moves. Rook to d8, checkmate. So let's take it back. What happens in this position if knight to b7? It looks annoying, but now we have rook to e6, shifting the rook. And now, again threatening checkmate, and now to defend. What else but the rook to c8, but now pushing the pawn. And you can't push the pawn or capture the pawn because here comes rook to e8, check. After moving the king, you can push the pawn, promote the queen. If rook takes rook, capturing back and promoting the queen, so king to g7 and bang. Threatening to push the pawn, queen. And now what? So rook takes, pawn takes, I guess, queen. What else? Pushing the pawn, check. And here comes checkmate. Oh yeah, what a game by Garry Kasparov, the beast from Baku. Attacks, attacks, and attacks. He played like Mikhail Tal on steroids. What a game by Garry Kasparov. From start to finish, an incredible chess game. This is what I can say. Not many people is watching Kasparov's chess games, but it's just such a shame. Look at this chess game. I mean, what can you say? This looked like, seriously, Mikhail Tal on steroids. So thank you very much for watching. I will open the last position for you. So after rook to d6, Viswanathan had enough. So none of those shenanigans happened. So b3, and this didn't happen, but this is a force variation and there is no sensible defense for black. So this is why Viswanathan resigned. Thank you very much for watching. And I hope to see you next time with more beautiful chess games like this one. Take care and bye bye.